Welcome to DRM News Global. This is where we take your sources, could be articles, notes, anything really, and we boil them down to what you actually need to know. The idea is to get you informed quickly and clearly on, well, sometimes complex topics. And today, we're looking into something quite sensitive, but important. The recent, very sudden deaths of two prominent figures from the adult entertainment world, Kylie Page and Damen Stone. Now, our sources for this are mostly news reports, tributes, reactions from the community. Our job here is just to piece together what's being reported, how people are reacting both inside and outside the industry. We do need to acknowledge the industry itself, of course, but our focus today is strictly on the reported facts and feelings from these sources. We're just presenting the information as it's been published, staying impartial.
Exactly. And it's important to remember these aren't just names and headlines, they're people. The deaths of both Kylie Page and Damen Stone they've really sent shockwaves through their communities. It's affected colleagues, friends, fans. We'll be exploring that impact, trying to highlight the human story that often gets lost, especially, as you said, with public figures in certain fields.
Okay, let's start with Kylie Page. A huge loss. She was only 28, passed away in Los Angeles on Wednesday, June 25th. We know this is confirmed through documents from the LA County Medical Examiner and also confirmed by close friends. The reaction from the industry was immediate. A lot of grief, a lot of tributes. Brazzers, for instance, put out a statement saying they were deeply saddened. They said Kylie would be remembered for her laughter, kindness, and bringing light wherever she went. That seems to capture a lot of the sentiment.
It really does. And it's striking, actually, how consistently people describe her personality. Leah Gotti, who's a fellow performer and was a close friend, told AVN she was just terribly sad. Gotti said, I just think overall she was a happily infectious person. She called her light and bright, someone who loved to smile, laugh, and really valued living life fully, being free. It gives you a real sense of her. And Alex Mack from Hussy Models said something similar. Losing Kylie is truly heartbreaking. She was a kind soul, always brought warmth and energy.
Yeah, those descriptions are very consistent. Kind soul, wonderful friend.
Right. It doesn't feel like just, standard professional comments. It feels like genuine personal loss. Someone who really did brighten up a room.
And professionally, she had quite a career too, right? Started back in 2016.
That's right, 2016. And she was prolific, credited with over 200 scenes, apparently, worked with all the big names, Brazzers, Naughty America, Vixen Media Group brands.
Her agency mentioned her impact on those in the industry will be missed. So definitely a significant figure professionally as well.
But here's where it gets, even more poignant, maybe confusing for people. Just days before she died, she did this public appearance.
Ah, yes, the Honey Birdette fashion show interview.
Exactly. It was posted just 4 days before she passed. And in the clip, she seems absolutely beaming, She says, I'm so happy, I feel amazing. Seeing that, someone so full of life and energy, and then hearing the news, it's understandably amplified the shock for everyone. Makes the suddenness feel even harsher.
It certainly does. And we have to stress the official cause of death for Kylie Page that hasn't been confirmed yet. The sources are clear. There's an additional investigation ongoing. So lots of unanswered questions still.
And the fan reaction has been huge. You see it all over social media, Reddit, Instagram. People clearly felt a connection. On Reddit, someone wrote, sad, so young, definitely had one of the most beautiful faces, R.I.P. Another fan under the Brazzers post said, Kylie's spirit and energy will live on.
That's quite an outpouring.
It is. And there was also a comment on her last Instagram post that stood out. A fan mentioned reading comments suggesting maybe she was being harassed. They hoped for justice if something bad was done to her. Now, obviously, we're not validating that claim, just reporting it as part of the public reaction, the kinds of concerns being voiced by fans trying to make sense of it.
Right. It shows the speculation and concern out there.
And Pineapple Support, the mental health organization for the industry, they also put out a message. They called her a bright light, remembered for kindness, strength, and authenticity. And importantly, they offered support, saying, if you have been affected, please reach out. You are loved. You are not alone. Which is so vital in these moments.
Absolutely. A crucial reminder about support systems. So while the community is dealing with that loss and those questions, news also broke about another death, Damen Stone. This one also sudden, he was 32. But the timing is a bit different here.
Yeah, it is. The news came out recently, but AVN reported his death actually happened about a month before it became public.
Okay, so a delay in the reporting. And do we know the cause in his case?
We do. Unlike with Kylie Page, the cause of Damen Stone's death has been confirmed. It was reported as complications from an enlarged heart. So a clear, though very sad, medical reason.
Right. And tell us a bit about Damen Stone, Moldovan-born, known as a performer and a bodybuilder.
That's him. Very well known for his physique, obviously, being a bodybuilder. He was quite versatile in his performing career, worked with men, women, transgender women, carved out a real niche.
But he wasn't currently active in the adult industry, was he?
No, and that's a key part of his story. He actually stepped away from performing back in 2020. He made a pretty significant pivot.
Towards bodybuilding.
Exactly. He focused heavily on bodybuilding and his OnlyFans account, where he showcased that journey. And he wasn't just dabbling, he became a 3-time bodybuilding champion in Pennsylvania.
Wow, 3-time champion.
Yeah, he'd moved there from Moldova, so this wasn't someone who faded away. He actively reinvented himself, found new success, a whole new chapter, which makes his death at 32 feel, well, like a promising path cut short.
So 2 very significant losses, hitting the community around the same time, but with quite different stories behind them.
Very different. You have Kylie, still active, remembered for her light and energy, her death still under investigation. Then Damen, who had successfully transitioned, built a new life, and passed from a known medical condition.
When you put them side by side like that, it really highlights the diversity of experiences within that world, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. It shows people build complex lives, both inside and, potentially outside the industry. It challenges maybe some monolithic views people might have. And these events, they do make you think, don't they? How do we, as an audience, process news like this, especially about people in industries that are maybe misunderstood or viewed through a narrow lens?
That's a good point.
It really pushes us to remember the actual human being behind the public image, the performer, the bodybuilder. These were whole people with full lives.
Yeah, and the ongoing investigation for Kylie Page, the suddenness for both, especially being so young. It's just a stark reminder, really. It's hard.
Definitely. It underscores that vulnerability regardless of who you are or what you do.
So as we close out this DRM News Global session, hopefully looking at these sources has given you, our listener, a clearer picture of Kylie Page and Damen Stone, their careers, the circumstances reported around their deaths, and the impact rippling through their communities.
And maybe a final thought to leave you with. When public figures are often so tightly defined by their jobs, what can stories like these teach us? About just the sheer complexity of being human, the unexpected ways life can unfold. It reminds us there's always more to a person than what we see publicly. People face challenges, chase dreams, reinvent themselves, all mostly out of the public view.
A powerful reminder indeed. Thank you for joining us for DRM News Global. We hope you keep thinking about these stories and always seek out that deeper context behind the headlines.